Hey everyone, this is Frank with your Pivot Boss Premium Market Outlook for the ES for September 25th, 2014. Here's a look at the ES in a daily time frame. And here's our level right there. We talked about the zone between 68.5 and 72.5 being a zone where buyers were likely going to defend for a shot at retesting 87s and 2000s. You know, that's exactly what we wrote in the pre-market. As a matter of fact, if you look over at the pre-market right now, here's the pre-market EOD chart that we talked about. And basically right here it just says bulls are looking to defend near 68 to 72.5 for a shot at 87 quarter and 2000, right? And that was kind of the end of day swing outlook, right? And that's what I was talking about. And now if you go back to the chart, you can see that buyers did indeed defend down here and got as low as 69s in overnight trading, I guess. And then during the session also defended those 72 halves and then eventually ran the upside stops through 1980 to retest 87s and then close the session around 91. So again, as we've talked about before, the market will pull back a couple of days, a few days, maybe even 5 days, but really it's never really far away from an all-time new high. I mean, this thing has been this way the entire time. We nailed another nice bounce here intraday. Hopefully you were able to get a piece of that one. That was solid. Now here's the thing to watch out for. We had a high range day here. That implies a low range day in the upcoming session. Okay. It implies a digestion day. Also implies a potential pullback of some sorts. But here's the line to watch, and that's 1987 quarter. That's the high volume node. That's the micro composite VPOC of this range. Okay. Here's what I want you to look at for. Any pullback into that zone is likely going to see price come to the other side of this hump into the LVN. And if price goes above this zone, it's going to go up a little bit on the other side of this hump. So this is likely going to be your trading range for the upcoming day, which basically is somewhere between 1981, 1980 up to about 1998 half. You know, that's kind of your potential for the upcoming day. And you know, if price breaks out of there, then it's going to be further expansion. But typically speaking, after you see a big session, you usually see a bit of a pullback or some digestion, and then you see follow through. What you want to see is any buyers, if you're bullish, want to be able to defend the LVN here at 1980. So any pullback into 1980 is a buy opportunity for another shot at all-time highs. Failure to hold above that LVN runs the risk of retesting support. And once you retest that support again, the old saying is there's no such thing as triple bottoms. You know, this thing could come out and you could see more selling because now you have a lot more buyers that came in to defend. Breaking those lows triggers a larger wave of downside sell stops. Okay, so overall our plan for new swing highs is right on path. We nailed this buy zone down here in our earlier commentary to begin the week, and so far so good. If we look at the intraday chart for a moment, the intraday chart was equally fantastic. If you take a look at it right here, this is what we drew up this morning. I talked about the sellers attempting to keep 1980 offered, and that was our pivot right there. And again, when you're looking at this pre-market playbook, anytime I have a box like that, and then I have a reversal V, and then or a break up arrow, that is a seller, basically a seller-controlled pivot. That's the way I look at it. So anytime I have a box with some arrows coming out of it, that's your pivot. That's the key pivot where somebody is defending, bulls or bears, and if they don't succeed in defending that level, the stops will come out. So that was the key level to watch, was 1979, 1980, and when the stops came out, I said right here, if the bulls run the stops through 1980, you're likely going to see 87 and beyond. And that's exactly what happened today. So if you look at the actual chart, you'll see that not only did the stops come out and you get to 87s, but you got all the way to 92 half, I believe. That was the high of the session. So here we are, and you can see price drop down right there, 1970 and a half. was the low. I talked about 68 half to 72 half as being our buy zone, right? Well, this is 72 half is here and 68 something is here. That's the buy zone. So you had it first. There it is. You go up, and then here's 1980 right there, and you can see how they had a couple of turns off that zone. Sellers were coming in. Sellers came in a third time here, and then right there they held the pivot for the day, the central pivot point. That's PP, the central pivot point for the day, and then came up and ran the upside buy stops here, and that's when you saw the continuation into 1991 half, topping out at 92 half. So this was a huge, huge move. I mean, this is 22 points, 22 and a half points all the way up, and we nailed it right there with our pre-market reports that we were going, the swing buyers were going to defend the zone, and that intraday sellers or intraday buyers were going to try and run the stops through 80. So this was fantastic, played off our levels exactly as you would expect, and now we got to see what happens upon a retest of 1980, because anytime you do this and you come up and you break through those prior highs, whenever you come back, you need to retest it and you need to hold it in order to get this thing going even higher. So now the big test is, how's price going to do when it comes back to 86.50, which is value, 5-day value? How's it going to do when it comes back to closing value, the prior session, and also that 1980 key level here? So I think any pullback, if you're bullish, you're going to want to defend between 70, call it 78 half and 82. So another 4-point range here. If price comes into that zone, that's your buy zone for another round of strength into 1998 and beyond. So that could be a very, very solid move up ahead. Failure to hold those 1980s down to 78 implies another round of weakness. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how it plays out heading into Thursday's trading.